Yes, this part of the video shows the beginning of the parade. You can see that the marchers entered into the street that borders Union Square, Union Square East. And that's the point at which they had, performed their act of civil disobedience. And what you can see, there's nobody stopping them. As they go further down the street, you'll be able to see the police that are amassing towards 16th Street, which is, I believe, at the building you see with the large columns on it. When they get up to that point, you'll see police directing them onto 16th Street, which we would later learn for the purpose of sealing the street and performing these mass arrests. On this day, I should add, many other civil disobedience acts were being organized, and at the World Trade Center, at Herald Square, and at the New York Public Library, a large number of individuals were arrested simultaneously, in fact, 1,200 in all. For the entire course of the convention, something like 16 or 1,800 people had been arrested total. So on this one day, it's remarkable that so many arrests had occurred. The police are directing the parade onto 16th Street, and by this time, people had caught on that a parade was happening. You see photographers all over the place, interested bystanders. I later talked with others who had been arrested at this location and found out that many had just been walking on the street incidentally, that they were buying a gallon of milk for their family, or because they lived on the street, they were there and trapped.
Right.
So
everybody on the street got swept.
Absolutely, it was indiscriminate. There was, you can see later on how the police had actually moved in a tactical way, almost as if this were a military operation.
Were there even old elderly on the street and
absolutely
young children?
Yes,
and
there were people in their teens, in their 70s, and I can't say how long those individuals were confined. I'd say for the most part, the 20, 30ish, 40ish people were the ones who were held the longest. So what's remarkable actually about this segment is that you don't see any police around. The police were at the end of the block, which this band will approach in a minute or two. And the police were at the beginning of the block where they were directed from Union Square. There was no purpose for them to be in this location because their tactic was to stop the parade and to trap the people on the street. At this stage, the band has reached the end of the street, and there are several dozen protesters, maybe 50 in all, sitting on the street, locking their arms and chanting. And this is clearly a group who intended to break the law for the purpose of this demonstration. You can see the photographers lining up like paparazzi to get this event on film, and now you can see police officers who are motioning them away. This was a fairly decisive moment because it was the point at which the police line had been drawn. That is, the photographers who were covering the event were allowed to go, but now a line had been defined by the police, which, from this point of view of the camera, is behind our backs, and there was no passing through that barrier. It's kind of difficult to see the details of this, but in the distance you can make out the motorcycles the police were riding in. You can see buses, and perhaps as many as 100 police officers.
Behind you? Behind
me at this point.
Right.
But you could tell that the mood on the street is like one of celebration. The band is playing, as something you would hear maybe during Mardi Gras, and people are dancing and clapping.
Right.
Although there were very crowded at this time, nobody was allowed to leave at this end of the street, and I heard some complaints about that. People were getting frustrated, and were talking about how there were so many police and wondering why they were pressing us and making us turn around, and questioning now what our fate would be, what would actually happen to us, whether all of us would be arrested or just the organizers, the band, or who it was who would be singled out.
Right. So this is when it's starting to dawn on you.
Yes, we were pretty certain that we were going to get in trouble.
Right. At this point, did you see policemen above at all? Because I know that
not yet, but I did in the course of maybe 10 or 12 minutes. I caught a video of police stationed in a balcony in one of the apartments that is on the street. Here you can see how the police have lined up on the Union Square side of 16th Street. And now the band is marching on the sidewalk in a column of two.
Right. And that's permitted under New York
That
City
is permitted under law. However, you're not supposed to block more than half the sidewalk, and all of the audience and the other people, including myself, combined, would, clearly is blocking the sidewalk.
Right.
So
at that point, that's kind of out the window at this point.
Yeah.
Because of what the police did.
And also in consideration of
comply with the law.
And the fact that they had already broken the law. I mean, they'd clearly done what they had come to do, which was to make their statement by visibly breaking the law and intentionally getting arrested.